So the second module within the interactive day for the Vizrt Advanced course for the interactivity is looking at using mouse event scripts, or also called 6DOF, 6DOF. Now, as I described before, we can use data pool and the hyperlink plugin to create some very simple single mouse click events, and you can make some pretty good interactive graphics with that. The mouse event script is similar in that instead of using data pool, we're using one of the Vizrt scripts, which I went over before. However, the same idea is we're using one click to get the results, and also with these clicks have built-in booleans. So I'm going to show you some sample scenes with which any designer can have access to as part of their takeaway for this this course, and they can start working with these graphics and as well start reverse engineering them and applying them directly to projects they may have. So for example, if you can see my animation, I'm clicking on the screen. So with this simple plugin, which is still a VSL, I'll go back to that in a sec, I'm actually just turning the logo on and turning the logo off. So if we quickly go look at that, is that this script, which is not yet a VSL, is still just a script, was written in such a way that it has an actual GUI and describes what and how you're effectively going to be doing. So like we saw before, with the hyperlink you had the options for on mouse enter, on mouse leave, on left button mouse down, on left button mouse up, and so on and so on. Double click is not a bad one, we can probably try that as well, and right click. So this is different GUI interfaces. The double click threshold relates to how your double tap threshold, and the target is this geometry right here. And all we're doing with this script is saying on first click, set visibility to off. On second click, set it to on. Okay? So here I turn it off, and there I turn it on. There I turn it off, there I turn it on. Pretty simple, but you'd be surprised what you could do with the ability to simply turn things on and off. If I was going to open up a fresh scene and use this plugin, I would do the following, and this is going to be a quick review of the Vizrt scripting elements, and that is simply I'm going to have a location here where I'm going to put my interactive plugins, and I would just simply drag this up into there. I gotta get my built-ins, my apologies. And I've got my, let's see if I can, the folders here, interactive, script, plugins right there. So I drag this up here, and I'm going to give it a name, I think 6 on off. Alright, so later on during the exercise I will show you how I'm going to use that plugin. So I'm going to move on to the next example, and we have this one here, which is affecting the scaling. So let's see what happens when I click that. Scale goes to that, scale goes to that, scale goes to that, scale goes to that. What's happening in the script? Same thing, we have the same GUI interface up here, but in this case we're sticking with the left button down. But unlike having an active on or off, we're affecting these values here, which are built into the code. So for example, if on this one here, if I click this and I want this to go to this scale here, and here's the animation for it to speed to that scale, I'm going to go 110, and then if I click that, there we go. And so now it is scaled to 4. I think I'll move back that. So there we go. Once again, I'm going to take this plugin up here and drag it up here and call this 6DOF scale. Close. Okay, here we have very similar, but this time on the script I am hitting a rotate to 40, 180, so on and so on. Same thing, same idea. Instead of the transformation values being scale, transformation values are speed. If I can remind you, in the data pool plugin, the hyperlink, we were doing very similar stuff, but we were affecting the data pool scale and data pool rotation. So that leads me also to describe that, don't forget with Vizrt, there's more than one way to skin a cat. You know, you can always get and find a solution using different ways. And this is the secondary interactive solution we have using these VSL scripts, which if you were to sort of go back and reverse engineer, you could sort of figure out how you want to make these work for yourself or your developer. Okay, so I'm going to once again drag this up here, and I'm going to call this 6-DOF rotate. Now, here we have the same thing, changing the position. And it's actually, this one down here, you can see the developers made a way to jump it. So, in actual fact, you could change the speed to 1. So it gets there so fast that it looks like it's jumping. Okay? And actually, I'm just going to move this over. 6-DOF position. Like I said, very similar to data pool in that these are all controlling the transformation values. Okay, here we're just setting some commands. Start rotation. And what's happening here is, look, we're controlling one of the directors. This is like similar to the command with data pool where you were doing this stage, this director, name, start, stop, continue. Once again, all of the same methodologies and ideas are here to send the same commands, even the continue reverse right here. And I'm gonna put this up here into my built-ins. I'm gonna call this one 6-DOF director control, because I'm going to control a director, which is very, very powerful plugin for a lot of these sort of things. And what does this one do? Once again, controls the alpha. So we're affecting the alpha of that. So I'm going to move that. So we'll leave this one as is. We don't really need to use that. Okay, so I have shown you the basics of the script, mouse event script. And the mouse event you'll all have seen were mostly left mouse down. Let me show you some of that in action as to what you can actually do with that. This is a graphic I made for a certain station in the Middle East. And it's got what I call the cover flow. And most importantly, do you remember that one where we're controlling directors? Let's see, there we go. So now I'm controlling a director. What director was that? This is very simple. If I just click on the scene, you'll see that I just hit an action to control this director here. And then the same action can also reverse. So director comes on, director comes off. Pie chart comes on, and I can even have subdirectors in here creating my feedback and breaking them down. All of these are controlling directors inside this overall graphic. Let's take a look at some of that. So you'll see here the various widgets, which I call these. This is the pie chart widget. So here's the pie chart widget right there, the content. And we're affecting, in this case, the bar chart. And this comes on. No, where's the pie chart? There it is. Pie chart. Pie chart has an animation to reveal. I affect that animation to come on like this with that click, and I affect the animation off like that. And then when I bring it on, I'm also going to move the slice. Remember how we moved the slice? So now I'm going to trigger that director right there. So as I said before, 95 to 80% of all of the graphics you'll be doing is really about controlling a director. And that's why the director plugin, the control director plugin, is going to be your most valuable friend when it comes to interactive graphics. Same with here. So let's put these away and go find something else. The cover flow plugin is not involved here, and it is using some other plugin which I'll have talked to about in the next section. I'm mixing and matching some of my interactives. And as well, we also have telestration, which is a nice feature. And I can go into that another point as well. So like I said, 90% of all the graphics you do are going to be for interactivity, controlling a director and creating a cause and effect situation with another director. See that? Let's look at one more graphic. Okay, same graphic here for another station. I can click on these and I'm zooming into certain locations. They've got sub buttons that do different things. All of these are directors which are animating and animating off. Same thing here. Bring in a video source and so on. In the next section of this module of using mouse to script events, I will be going over some simple exercises which are very similar to the first data pool exercises, but using the 6DOF plugins we just had a chance to play with.